Hi, good afternoon, everyone, or I should say good morning, depending on when you're watching this. Welcome to EC Info Systems Executive Workshop, where we will be covering using technology to build smarter marketing campaigns. Quick introduction about myself. My name is Andreya Shaak. I'm the Director of Product here at EC Info Systems. That means I manage our product development roadmap in conjunction with our clients, the market, and company-wide strategic initiatives. So we're going to start out this presentation talking about customer segmentation and targeting, why it's important, and how do we do it in the retail sector. So what is it specifically? So customer segmentation and targeting means effective marketing, messaging, and strategies to a particular group of customers. Why is it important? It helps drive things like brand recognition, loyalty, and differentiation. How can we do it? We can do this by targeting unique and approachable groups within organizations. One of the ways our clients on the retail side utilize our billing platform is by using tools like customer groups or account classes to help segment their customers and then drive intelligent marketing campaigns and outreach as well as notifications off of those customer groups. And what does it do for your bottom line? So in addition to the emotive aspects, that we already discussed, like brand recognition, loyalty, differentiation, it really does help drive growth by word of mouth and creating more of those brand loyal lists within your customer groups. All of this will drive overall company growth and overall return on investment. Now, thinking about technology as it plays into this segmentation aspect, retailers are uniquely positioned with a whole host of customer data access. This includes usage data, customer preference data, so things like how the customer prefers to be contacted, their preferred bill delivery method, etc. All of those are data points that the retailer has access to depending on the market. Likewise, you have customer activity data, so when they pay, how they pay, particular reasoning around drops or change requests. All of these are data points, again, that the retailer possesses. And then also access to market data. So what are the retail competitors or utilities charging, and what types of products are out there that a retailer might be competing with? Now, obviously, although there is a unique access to data from the retail perspective, it's not always used to the full capacity. And so throughout this presentation, we'll talk about how you can use data points and different market pieces and different market changes, I should say, to drive this targeting and segmentation effort. The bottom line here is with the right technology and data, segmentation and targeting ensures that you get the right message to the right end user at the right time. And this will overall enable you to differentiate your commodity and brand as a retailer. One thing we must consider before we jump into some ideas about branding and messaging is that different markets will have differences between how you can what outreach opportunities you have with customers and what data points you have access to segment them further. Thinking about this from a usage perspective, depending on the market, you might have access to interval or summary usage, shaping patterns about your customers, different meter types, capacity and tags that are more granular on the wholesale side. And then also just in certain markets, you have access to a wider depth of data. Like in Texas, you have access to SMT. Also, in different markets, you have various billing relationships that you need to manage with the customer. Specifically in your Northeast states, you're working mostly in a consolidated market, either through rate ready or consolidated bill ready billing, where the utility controls the billing relationship. However, you might opt for a dual scenario in those markets where the customer receives two bills, or in markets like Texas and Illinois, you might have a supplier consolidated billing relationship, which allows you as the retailer to send out a consolidated utility invoice. And lastly, you have regulatory limitations to work with. So how can you contract with customers? What type of outreach is permitted in those markets? Also limited product options. So all of these are structural market differences that drive different segmentation and branding efforts within retail organizations, and they must be considered as you think about how to approach your customers differently. So next we're going to cover a few different ways that you can use that data and the differences within the markets to brand your retail company, within that segmentation and targeting effort. One role you can take as a retailer is the educator. So as we saw on the previous slide, market differences are going to impact how you communicate to your customers. And so educating your consumers on those differences and how they can best prepare for them will really help you take on a more educational role within your customer's life cycle. You can also think about this when you market specifically for dual billing, especially in those consolidated states, and offer things like customer price breaks where you're not being charged a POR discount. Likewise, offering auto pay discounts or even paperless billing. All of these tactics will allow you to segment your customers within the markets that you have less flexibility on the billing side and take on an educational role to brand your retail shop. Second is the messenger. So think about in those limited frameworks we looked at before, again, on the consolidated billing side, you might be limited in how you can, what outreach opportunities you have with customers just from the billing or even the regulatory side. So using that infrastructure, you can drive client outreach. Things like outbound 810 messaging on consolidated bill-ready bills, that will help you to get messaging across even when the utility is the individual entity remitting the invoice to the customer. This will allow you to do things like driving engagement to your branded sites and landing pages, or even, going a step further than that, you can drive your customers to those sites and landing pages through the consolidated invoice and go for a cross-sell opportunity for things like non-commodity offers. And the third web market-based branding opportunity we want to consider today is the tech innovator. So using technology to provide value-added tools to your customers and continue to drive brand awareness is really key here. What we would recommend on the technology side is leverage a key partner so that you can shorten your development costs and timelines. One way we do this for our retail clients is we offer a ECI customer portal along with the Tandem mobile app that our retail clients can actually white label, so their end use customers can log in, make payments, view messaging, communication, download bills. And then again, a step further than that is actually download the retailer's mobile app in both the Apple and Android stores, so that they can, do the same things they would on a mobile enabled website, but in their actual app. Another tool we're kind of thinking about and rolling out to our clients too is the ability to do push notifications. And so here is just a quick snapshot of what the Utilibill customer portal looks like on the desktop version, and then a snapshot of what that would look like on the mobile app itself. And so obviously this would be white labeled for the retailer that we were working with their colors, logos, look and feel, just to make that consistent across their branding and messaging and website. So the idea here is that mass personalization, including the segmentation and targeting at scale, is possible if you do it correctly. And really the key takeaways is you do it through data access, through adapting to those market differences and using them to your advantage rather than considering them, limited frameworks to work within. So this brings us to our key takeaways. First would be to segment your customers, automate the segmentation, test it and do it again. We really haven't covered that too much in this presentation, but that's obviously the first step before you can, take on any of these various roles like the educator or the tech innovator. You have to be able to figure out what your customer segments are and then create an automated process around that so that it's, feasible to continue that process moving forward. Second point here is that maintaining your brand connection is equally as important as brand creation. So coming up with a logo is not the end all be all of your marketing campaign. You do really want to think about, in the future, how do you maintain that brand connection with your customers to drive those brand loyalists that we looked at, very early on in the presentation. The third is utilizing event-driven notifications. So again, depending on the market, depending on the technology tools that you have access to, creating notifications to your customers that are driven through events, that relate to your service or your offering is where you're going to kind of foster a deeper connection with your customers through your brand. And again, you do that through technology. Second to last here is using branding and being innovative in those limited markets. So regardless of whether you are participating in consolidated markets, you have the control of the billing relationship, or you're kind of going on a hybrid approach like dual billing, you can use branding to be innovative to figure out how to work within those markets and better serve your customers. And lastly, segmentation, targeting, and branding is inexpensive with the right technology partners. As we saw with the web app and the mobile app, you can invest, a lower sum in those tools and be able to roll them out to your clients quicker and in a more cost-effective way when you work with the right technology partners. So we'd encourage you to come visit our virtual booth. We'd love to chat with you more about our mobile app and some of the other interesting and innovative tools that we're working on at ECI. So please feel free to stop by the exhibitor hall, and we'd love to chat with you further. Thanks so much for participating in the workshop, and looking forward to chatting with everyone soon.